So how was the week? How's things going?
Well, it was good. I mean, the weekend was amazing. We had butter and eggs parade down in Petaluma. A lot of people end up turning out. It was pretty amazing because the last 3 or 4 years, I mean, 2020 and we're in 24 now, and being able to see people out there and having that camaraderie again and seeing the people out there with the new babies and pushing them around and, out for live music and just going out and getting out and socializing again. It's just amazing. And having the weather change and having spring here finally here. I mean, we're going into right now. We're into April, which normally we're already into spring. So if you get April showers, it's May flowers. The flowers are all blooming right now. So we're starting a little bit late this year. But yeah, I mean, good old California. Here I am struggling getting up and going working, my 10 or 12-hour days, just to be able to pay the bills,
Yeah.
just to be able to get by. And it's, I end up having a decent job. I'm not making $20 an hour. I don't know if, and I'm at now I'm right now currently 58 years old. And I'm just still plowing along, man, just trying to be able to say that I want to stay here in California. I have lots of friends that have already ended up bailing out, that already ended up leaving California. They're like, we're done. I mean, I can move to Virginia. I can be able to move to Texas. I can be able to move to Florida. I can move all these places, sell my $700,000 four-bedroom house, and basically get a really nice house with property with a rider lawnmower with a pond, for 250, $300,000, and it's a freaking huge, that's with property, and buy it outright and still be able to have money left over.
Right.
But my family and friends are here. I born and raised here in California in Sonoma County, and I just watching and seeing what's going on, dealing with PG&E is our power provider out here. We have Sonoma Clean Power. My last bill for my four-bedroom house was $868. Just the transportation fee was $348.
On top of the eight or included in
No,
that?
that's included in that. I mean,
But that's still unreal.
yes, my actual PG&E was $189 for the power that I actually use. And then, my during the winter months we're using the heater because we got, fog that rolls in, our natural air conditioner and rain and, $89 in gas. So their delivery fee was actually more expensive than the actual what I use, which is just unheard of. It's ridiculous. I ended up being able to get off of Sonoma Clean Power, and that's basically powered by our geysers that we have here. And I wanted to do the right thing for the environment. I wanted to be able to make sure that I'm doing my fair share not to pollute, making sure that I'm recycling my garbage. But if it's going to end up costing me, an extra $400 a month to be able to go green, I'm like, well, and nobody else is going green, then why
Right.
am I paying an extra $400 a month when I'm already struggling? I'm already struggling to be able to buy that gallon of milk at $5 a gallon. I'm already struggling at buying a gallon of gas that this last week it was $5.99 for regular gas. I mean, it dropped back down again, but every year they go through this cycle whenever it's a holiday, whenever you end up having a big event. School is going to be out here pretty quick, and they're just jacking the prices up again, all the way across the board, dealing with the gas. You ended up being able to, and I have friends that have gotten solar panels. In California, they say, oh, yeah, we want you to go and get solar panels. But then when you get the solar panels, then they end up putting a lien on your house for the $40,000 that it costs. You have to be able to pay that off, and it really depends on how many panels. I'm using a rough number because that rough number, depending on how many panels you need on your house to be able to basically exceed how much power you need, you It's just incredible to be able to think that you're going to end up owing on these solar panels for 30 years or 25 years, and that if you sell the house, you have to sell off the panels. The panels are not transport to the next person. You basically have to buy the company out. Basically, they're no longer responsible for the panels. If you sell sell your house, so it basically gets them out of the warranty, and then you have these solar panels that are not getting maintained and taken care of on your house for 25 freaking years. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
So then let me ask you this, and I don't know if you saw this earlier, but we covered it a little bit. There was an Earth Day speech that Joe Biden showed up to, and he was, the last speaker. Obviously, he's got to be the main event. But part of his speech today was talking about a new program and a new initiative that has just been put in place called Solar for Everyone. And it sounded like, from what I heard from it, and again, I have to go back and do more research, but it just happened today, and just from what I saw, it sounded like it was just a program to give free solar energy to the lowest income people in America. And off of hearing what you just said, does that sound like maybe a Fannie Mae type thing? Was like, hey, come get this free solar, and then when you can't make a payment and you have to leave your house, you're stuck with this bill?
Yeah, it's a bait and switch type of a situation. They've done this for the last 5-8 years about being able to put solar. The newer houses that they're building, they're requiring them to be able to put solar on the house, but they're not putting enough panels on that house to be able to power that house. That person's still going to end up using PG&E. So
Gotcha.
Just when I look at that alone, and I know that a standard 3-bedroom or 2-bedroom house, takes 8 to 10 panels, or, putting up 1 panel or 2 panels on these brand new houses that were just built in our neighborhood, the solar panels that are on there not suffice. So it's basically like a bait and switch. They say, oh, we want me to go and do this and buy this and do this and put in this infrastructure, buy these solar panels. You're going to put solar panels up at our hospital at Kaiser in the whole parking lot. You go to all of our schools, and you've got all these solar panels at all these schools. And there is not one charging location for these cars that are coming in. So, when you intertie dealing with our gas and you deal with our electricity, it all is a bait and switch, where they're not looking out for our best interest or for the good of all. It's really about their bottom line and being able to make you more reliant upon them.
Because on top of that, until something's done about China or India, it really doesn't matter what the rest of the world does as far as going green or trying to be carbon neutral, because they, forgive my French, don't give a fuck. And they're going to keep doing what they're going to do with the coal mines and the overpopulation. And there's no plans to go electric there. So if our root cause of this global warming, which to me seems like a natural Earth cycle, but if you want to blame the humans, I feel like China and India have to be the number one culprits. Anything that anybody else in the world does is going to be minimal at best as far as offsetting what they're doing.
You're absolutely correct. So again, when you look at the bigger picture, and we're supposed to be a world economy, you're absolutely 100% correct that they don't have to go by those same regulations and guidelines that we have to go through, and all these hoops that we have to go through that cost us hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars. And it doesn't actually end up helping the environment. What are you going to do with all these lithium batteries? I mean, you're going to end up having a mass amount. I mean, we ended up here in California, you can't even use plastic bags. So you have to recycle your bags. If you end up going to the store and you forgot your bag, you end up having to pay a fee, a 10-cent fee for a plastic bag. Now, I don't know about you, but it's nonsense to be able to say that I'm going to buy this 10-cent freaking bag. And a lot of the stores don't use them at all. They're using paper bags, or you're basically shit out of luck if you didn't end up bringing a bag with you. Basically, you have to put it in your shirt and being able to take it out. So we're going to the extreme dealing with this bag But what about all these hundreds of thousands of millions of freaking lithium batteries that we're going to end up having from all these electric cars?
Well, and on top of that, and not that I'm condoning one way or the other,
Me
but
neither.
it seems like if you do the actual research and you look at it, it seems like plastic is the actual best option to use to get the paper. You got to cut down on the forests, and any of the other items that we're using are just completely worse for the environment, according to the research that I've done. I'm sure that there's something that's always going to pop up new to denounce everything. But from what I gathered today, it seems like that's actually the best option, but we're being told, hey, you can't do this. And then even when we get into the recycling topic, it's a simple Google search will show you that we're not even recycling.
Correct. You end up having three different garbage cans, and by the time it gets to the dump facility, it's not being processed correctly. So
Right.
the thing is I use the bags as an example because that's like the tip of the iceberg. When you end
Right.
up being able to look at all these other products that are within this car or within this a weed whacker or a blower or all these other batteries that you end up having to use, and those are all made out of plastic. They're not made to last a long period of time. We're in a throwaway society. I mean, first you have to make good quality products that last a long period of time. Then you have to be able to make it so that way, if you are recycling and that you do have these factories here, they're going to recycle these goods that we end up having. That all these the batteries, the plastics, the rubber, and actually reuse them to make something again. But right now, to be able to say all that stuff's going to go to our landfill and that we don't have a plant here anywhere in California that I know. I think there's one that ends up doing battery for lithium batteries. We have other recyclers for batteries, but not that are on the scale of what we need. You know, seeing, I mean, Ford just ended up backing out, and now they're doing hybrid, which makes more sense to where you can get 50, 60 miles to the gallon using a hybrid. That's an engine along with the battery. And then hopefully that battery life with the technology we have now, we're looking at, hopefully 10 to 15 years. Some of these old Priuses, basically within a 6 to 8 year period, you have to replace that whole battery pack, and it's almost the cost. I've had friends with Teslas that had problems out of their warranty, and then they ended up having to go buy this battery pack, which was still like $16,000 to be able to basically put this car that's still like brand freaking new back into service. You had to go and buy this whole and then put it in, which come to like $32,000.
Which is something I definitely wanted to ask you about. Given that the fact that California wants to set the standard across the globe as far as, hey, we need to be electric at this point in time. I saw a lot of articles over the winter where it was so cold that Tesla batteries just died. Like you're done. And then also today seeing the Tesla truck is just being recalled across the board. So are we really jumping the gun, or kind of like you're saying, is there like a deeper message going on?